All right, let me tell you a story. Mike and Jenny and Chris are musicians and good friends. They're having lunch together, and at lunch, Chris shows them his latest song. Chris is really proud of the song and is eager to hear what Jenny and Mike think about it. Jenny and Mike both tell him that his new song is awesome and that they can't wait for it to be released. Chris is excited and thanks them for their praise. He can't stay for dessert though and leaves early. After Chris left, Jenny asks Mike what he really thinks of the new song. Mike doesn't understand because he already said that he liked the song. Jenny, however, starts going on a little rant about how that song is bad, the production doesn't seem to be good, the hook is boring, and the lyrics are too generic. Just a few days ago, Mike showed Jenny a song he was working on, and Jenny's feedback was very similar to the feedback Chris just got. Very positive and enthusiastic feedback. Do you think the story improved or worsened Mike's trust to Jenny? Do you think Mike is going to take Jenny's feedback seriously ever again? Positive or negative, how can he know whether Jenny is being sincere or not? I'm a drummer. I studied drumming for a long time and I'm pretty good. I've got great technique, my timing is alright, and I know how I can acquire new skills on the drums without needing constant supervision. I don't always learn new stuff and definitely don't practice as much as I should, but I would have the necessary knowledge to become a great drummer if I only invested the time necessary. It's on me that I'm not a better drummer. It's also on me that my music isn't better than it is. I have not yet invested as much time in becoming a good composer as I have in becoming a good drummer. And I know my music sucks, just like my drumming did in the beginning. And I know people on the internet don't like the music I publish. At least offline, nobody has ever told me that they didn't like my music. But I still know that they don't like it. You want to know how I know? Numbers. As you probably know, streaming services share numbers with artists on how their songs and albums are performing. These are my numbers. You can see how many songs I've sold and have been streamed, how many times my music has been streamed on Spotify over the last year, the last 2 months, or even the last 7 days. I can also go and see how Apple Music is performing. These are my streaming numbers. But let's check out my YouTube stats and check if smart and beautiful people just like you like my music. Well, I get more clicks on this platform than on all streaming services combined. Yay! More people here like my music. But is that really the case? You see, YouTube tells you how long a person has been watching your video. What do you think? When you like a song, how much of the song do you listen to? Do you listen to the whole song or only the chorus? Or do you skip around and listen in a bit to different parts of the song? Those are pretty weird ways of listening to a song that you like. Let's decide on a percentage before we look at my YouTube stats. What percentage of the song do you have to have listened to qualify that listener as someone who likes your song? 100%? I think that's too optimistic because sometimes you just don't want to listen to the very last part of the outro. 60% maybe? I think that's too low. Let's take 75. How about that? If a video is 5 minutes long, you'd have to watch the video for 3 minutes and 45 seconds to get a 75% view duration. Let's check my stats. Well, I guess my songs just aren't good because obviously people don't stay for very long. Most of the people who watch my videos or listen to my videos don't consume the video from beginning to end. But some people do. And at this point, I just want to thank all of these people for giving my music a chance. I know your time is valuable and there's a lot of music out there that might fit your taste in music much better. So, a big thank you to all of you who consume my music with open ears. Some of you might now feel the urge to tell me that I cannot measure the quality of my music purely through numbers. And I agree, partially. I agree that we cannot really compare the quality of music of, let's say, Dvorak, 3 million listeners, to the music of Dua Lipa, 72 million listeners, or Led Zeppelin with 18 million listeners to The Weeknd, 114 million listeners. Here it is pretty clear that people consume these kinds of music in very different ways. Some music might be very fitting playing in the background, and other music only fits when you're in very specific moods and situations, such as in the gym, while studying, or actively listening to music. There's definitely music that is more easily consumable and other music that requires the listener's attention. And numbers don't tell us anything about the value listeners get from the music. I don't actually think my music sucks. I do think, however, that my music gets as many listens as it deserves. The music I released so far is the best I can do. That's it. That's it for me at the moment. If I could have published better music, I would have. The music that I put out there is it. It will never be better or worse, no matter how many people listen to it. Times might change and people's taste might change, but the music itself will never change. I don't think any of my family and friends ever told me that they didn't like my music. They always tell me that my music is great and that they like it. But I know they're lying. I appreciate my friends and my family a lot. They don't want to hurt my feelings and probably think to themselves, who am I to criticize his music? I don't really know anything about that genre or about the music. Also, I think that through telling me they like my music, they're really just telling me that they're proud of me. Most of my friends and my family know how much work goes into creating and releasing music, and they tell me through positive feedback that they respect the effort I made. I love that sentiment. That thought came to my mind only when I was writing the script for this video. It's a nice comforting feeling to think that there are people out there who are proud of you because of what you do, because of the music you make. But I still think they should not lie. If you're proud of me, just tell me that. If you respect the effort I put into something, just tell me that. Don't tell me you like the music when you really don't. Lots of things can go wrong when we lie. Just so you know, some of these ideas here about lying are inspired by Sam Harris's book, Lying. I highly recommend reading his book. Do you remember the story I opened the video with? The story with Mike, Jenny and Chris's new song, and how Jenny was not being honest to Chris, and her dishonesty left Mike question Jenny's past behaviors. I want to tell you another story. Your friend James is a young aspiring singer. To focus on his singing career, he takes a part-time job as a waiter and barely makes enough money to survive month after month. James keeps going to auditions and keeps failing. The musical directors and talent agencies, they always tell him that he's not good enough, that they went in another direction, or that the fit just wasn't right. You of course know that James's singing is terrible. He's got great talent in other areas of life, but singing is definitely not one of them. You even talk to his family about James's singing voice, and they all agree that he'll never make it as a singer. Not because it's hard or there's just a very small chance of him making it as a professional musician, but actually because he's a terrible singer. But none of you ever told him. You always supported him, because that's what great friends and family do. How long are you gonna keep that facade up? Ultimately, you're only hurting James's professional life and your relationship with James. Don't lie to him. Don't lie to your friend. Of course, you might be wrong, and James might actually make it one day. Who knows? But if he fails, you don't want it to be 30 years down the road and tell him, you know, We all knew back then that you wouldn't make it because your singing was just super duper bad. How do you think that would make James feel? Is he gonna trust you more or less? Now that he knows that you've been lying to him all these years. Don't you think he might have valued your honest opinion? Don't you think it might have helped him on his journey through life and prevented hardship? It's up to James whether to take your opinion seriously, but if he never knows your honest opinion, you robbed him of that insight and knowledge. Giving honest feedback can be hard, but if you're friends, what other than honesty do you want? Do you want your friends to lie to you? If you're truly friends, any feedback comes from a place of care and love. Friends and family should be the ones that are the most honest to us. Quite often though, it is the strangers that are brutally honest because they do not care about us and our feelings. Our friends and family do care about us, and that's why I think they actually have an obligation to be honest to us. Lying will ultimately only hurt our relationships. See you in the comments. Bye.